Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley, and this is Freedom Friday. This is going to be a little heavy. Today we're going to talk about the Carceral system. So I'm using, it's a very heavy social theory by Foucault, and I put 2 of his books below in Amazon links if you'd like to spend time reading really deep, heavy social theory. It's very intense. I'm going to read a few quotes. So, but really quick, I wanted to start out by saying, happy Strike Day. I'm going to start talking about the carceral system that we live under, just to give more clarification of oppression. So carceral theory is relating to or of the nature of prison, okay? And the carceral logics are the variety of ways in which our bodies, minds, and actions have been shaped by the ideas and practices of imprisonment. I used Foucault as my main theorist in my master's work, in which I talked about mental illness being like the system of mental health and mental illness being a form of social control. So this is the main theory I used, was the carceral theory. And why I think it's so important is because when we've talked about the systems of oppression and when we've talked about genocide, this is a little bit of a deeper look into how that happens. So when we talked about the systems of oppression, we talked about, I'm going to put them here, that's good. We talked about how the people at the top utilize the people at the bottom to keep divisive, right? In all of these different dichotomies and sections and spaces, even though a lot of us have several of these little boxes, right? You could be, whatever. But this is how it works. So I don't have another hand to point, but education, I just lost my papers too. So education and labor and stuff like that are at the bottom. Then we have like little higher up, doctors, lawyers, teachers, education status is what this one is. So anyway, one of the quotes of Foucault, I'm bringing that up because one of the quotes is, the judges of normality, normal, right? This idea of having to be a certain way within society, are present everywhere. We are in the society of the teacher judge, the social worker judge. It is on them that the universal reign of the normative is based. And each individual, wherever he may find himself, he uses he, subjects to it his body, his gestures, his behaviors, his aptitudes, and achievements. So all that to say, the teacher judge and social worker judge, the pastor judge, all of these folks on the bottom have to report things of abnormality, things that are different, off the cuff, things that are not that do not make this whole system continue working. And then once those people have been reported, discipline comes in, right? And I wanted to bring up genocide because this is a part of the classification and really polarization too, number 6, and organization. All of these first steps of genocide are carried out amongst each other down here using the carceral system. Religious dogma has carceral system. The systems that be, all of these laws and everything, the law and order and safety and security, for your safety, all of that feeds the carceral system and continues this working for itself, right? Carrying out genocide. So I want to touch on discipline within this carceral theory. So here are more quotes from Foucault. Discipline makes individuals. It is the specific technique of a power that regards individuals both as objects and as instruments of its exercise. It's exactly what these bottom rungs are. It is not a triumphant power, it is a modest, suspicious power, which functions as a calculated but permanent economy. Okay, the economy, the irony of making this on the day that folks are striking is that the economy will suffer when people discontinue working within this carceral system towards each other, right? There's another really long quote that I wanted to read about discipline and what that looks like, and then I'll talk a little bit more about that. This quote is pretty long and very wordy. That's how Foucault writes. So just bear with me and then we'll break it down. Traditionally, power was not, or was what was seen, what was shown, what was manifested, disciplinary power. On the other hand, is exercised through its invisibility. At the same time, it imposes on those whom it subjects as principle of compulsory visibility. In discipline, it is the subjects who have to be seen, right? A good example of this was when Mike Brown got killed in 2014 in Missouri. They left his body on the road for hours. That's exactly what Foucault's speaking about here. The principle of the discipline, it is the subjects who have to be seen. You know, that's pointing out to others, if you act like this or do this, this is your fate, you know. Their visibility assures the hold of the power that is exercised over them. It is the fact of being constantly seen, of being able always to be seen, that maintains the disciplined individual in his subjection. Ew, I have a bug on me. And the examination is the technique by which power, instead of emitting the signs of potency, instead of imposing its mark on its subjects, holds them in a mechanism of objectification. In this space of domination, disciplinary power manifests its potency, essentially by arranging objects. The examination is, as it were, the ceremony of this objectification. So, like I said, that's super wordy. Mike Brown is an example of that. George Floyd is an example of that. All of these public lynchings, Sandra Bland, all of them are this example of people needing to see the disciplinary action, right? And in all of those cases, it was very much without cause of threat of the victim, okay? So it's the power system just utilizing its power to maintain control. Another thing that I remember when we were learning about this in my master's, we talked about the panopticon and the way that surveillance has really taken over our lives. I mean, I'm sitting here in front of a camera. You know, anytime we're on our phone, we're constantly surveilled, right? The all-seeing eye on our phones. But the panopticon is a prison building system that has, I should have drawn it. Hang on, I have my marker. That has, so it's like this main tower in the middle, and then it's an octagon. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a prison. The panoctagon was a prison construction of an actual prison. It may be wrong, but it may date to Nazi Germany. But it looks like this. So the very middle part is the tower, the prison guard tower, and then the prison blocks and cells are all around it. So they're constantly under surveillance. And I bring this up because this is a prison like building structure model that is used, but it's also speaking to the constant surveillance of people. And we're doing that to ourselves and for ourselves now with these phones and with technology. Okay? It's very important we understand that. So, I think that's all really. Just know that the carceral system, as long as it maintains control, right? And so there's all these different levels of it, right? I made the example of the police killings. So the police carry out these power systems and these power moves to ensure compliance, right? Don't fall out of line. Again, it's that normality. If you're doing something abnormal or not participating in the system that the way that you're supposed to be, right? That objectification. If you're not playing your fucking part, you're gonna have consequences, right? And I put law enforcement right here, and then here's all the judges and stuff, and then we've got like the money folk up top. So the whole law and order system continues. But anyway, that's just a little bit of blurbs on that. I think that the carceral system, learning about that really, really radicalized me. Like I said, this was the main theory I used in my master's work, and it really just was so eye-opening when I read Foucault, and I was like, holy fuck, I lived through this in the mental health system, and then I decided to do that as like my focus, and then working after that within Skid Row, and hearing stories of folks being shuttled in and out of the system, the revolving door of incarceration. Also, we can speak to the school to prison pipeline. All of those things are within this carceral system, and there to maintain control. So I hope this was helpful in maybe making some connections, and I hope you all are celebrating today with the strike. I highly encourage organizing some community this weekend, building some relationships if you can, and yeah, I hope you all have a good day.